Welcome to the Newcomer Network. As every episode, we are having a special guest, and today I will be discussing with Yemilo Audu about networking in Canada, how to network, how to make friends, how to get contact when we don't know anybody in this wonderful country. So, hi, Yemilo.
Hello. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Yemilo, for how long have you been living in Canada?
Just over 10 years.
Wow. How do you feel things have been changing since the time you came about 10 years ago and now?
Well, I think that things have changed quite a bit. Definitely, there are a lot more immigrants than when I was here. And I did move to a smaller city before I moved to Winnipeg. So there's always been a change between the amount of immigrants in a smaller city versus in a bigger one. But I would say I'm definitely enjoying living in Winnipeg.
Yes, Yemilo, sometimes it's hard when we are coming to a different country. We don't have many people. We don't know who to contact, how to get a job, and how to do different things as a newcomer. And I'm so happy that we have more opportunities now. And it's important to understand that, to know that networking is an important tool for newcomers.
Absolutely. I do agree. When I just moved to Canada, I didn't quite understand why I needed to network. But definitely as the years went by, when I moved from going to school to actually getting into the workforce, I needed to network to really get into positions where my career would progress.
And how did you do networking by this time?
Well, I'm lucky enough that I moved here and I already had family. But when it came to the work that I was doing, I needed to get to know different people because no one I knew was doing anything that I really wanted to do. So I reached out to just local organizations, even if you're a part of a faith group, a church, or mosque. That's a very good place to start. Talking to someone, in the pew or during a service, that's a good way to just network without feeling like you're put in the spot where you have to, say an elevator pitch or anything that serious. I also reached out to local organizations that were doing things I already wanted to do, and volunteering was a big thing for me. That was a way that I got to know a lot of people and also learned skills that were useful beyond that organization.
That's a great point. Because sometimes we're just thinking about networking, but getting the skills is really important. And volunteering is a wonderful strategy for us to settle here. And when we have an objective, a professional objective, it's important to get to know more about how it works in here.
Something that really helped me, or a mindset that helped me out, was knowing that I already had skills that I could put into the organization. So not only are you learning new skills, you're also applying the ones you already brought from, wherever you're immigrating from. So it's a good way to give and also a good way to learn more skills.
Yeah. And what about the Canadian experience, what we call Canadian experience, which is very important because even when we bring the skills, things work different in some areas. So we need that.
Absolutely. I think that is a reality for a lot of newcomers when you realize that a lot of things that you know or the ways that you understand that things work isn't exactly how it works here. It can be baffling, really, but I think just being realistic with yourself, there's no way you can expect to come in within a year and do the same thing that you've been doing all the time. So allow yourself that grace period of learning a different culture, learning a new way of doing things. And, you'll make mistakes and that's okay, but it's all part of the process.
Yeah. And sometimes we say, oh, but I have the skills. I have the education. I have the experience. But when you come here, sometimes it's hard or challenging because you need to find a way to get into the spot. And networking is a door that will be open for you to get into that and reach your professional goal. Would you share with us any experience that you might find helpful to reach those goals in networking?
I would say for my experience going into networking, I think your goal shouldn't be, for me, I have a business. It's never landing a job or getting a new client. It's really understanding what is out there. So I go into it with a curious mind. And when I'm talking to someone, I want to know what you're doing. And I want to know if we align. And you learn so much more when, you're leading with that rather than this is what I have and this is what I'm looking for. So that perspective definitely helps me networking. There are opportunities that I wasn't even looking at. And just having that curious mindset just opens your eyes to things that, you may not have, initially thought of doing. But you're thinking to yourself, why not? This seems like a good idea. And so you get wonderful ideas from going in with just a curious mindset.
Yeah. And I think, in my case, different opportunities appear because of networking. I was not expecting that. I didn't even try to knock on doors, and some doors just opened because of those opportunities that I got to learn and to meet new people. And I am always open to go to events, to reach out people in social media. I go to places, and this is something I would like to recommend newcomers. Sometimes we are shy, and it's okay to be shy, but move one step at a time and talk to the people, no matter if you don't know them, because it's okay to say, hi, my name is Jocelyn, or hi, what's your name? I'm Yemilo.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I do. And sometimes we're shy to do that, but those are the few steps that you can move.
I agree, yes. I began my career feeling very introverted and quiet and to myself because a lot of the work I do is behind screens. But something I would say is it gets easier over time. So you don't expect the first time that you introduce your business or what you do to be the easiest time. But I promise you, 100 times over, you're going to get very, very good at it. And it's also advocating for yourself. So sometimes I think we shy away from talking about what we do, maybe because we feel like we're not being humble enough. But the reality is that you do have those skills. And if you don't let people know, how will they be able to, connect with you, and how would they be able to use those services that you can offer? So I would say it's a mixture of, practice, practice, practice. It gets easier over time. And yeah, I think also the other person on the other side is having a very similar time as you. Usually they're as shy as you are. So it's just an understanding that we're all human as well.
I have a video about that. Yeah, that's true. And I was going to ask you about the challenges that you find that newcomers face. One of the first ones, it's language. Oh, my English is not good enough. What if I make a mistake? What if I don't pronounce well? Or what if they don't like me because of my background, because of my religion, because of my hair, because of many things that sometimes people are not even thinking about that.
True. And I'll say this. When you're going into a networking situation or be it an event or you're stuck in an elevator with someone, chances are if they are not going to be open to what you have to say, that's not going to really affect you. It shouldn't really affect you. But just remembering that the chance that you don't take is a chance that's lost anyways. So you might as well just try it out. Just say what you need to say. You can't control how the other person is going to react to you, but at the same time, you can't afford to really miss those opportunities as well.
Oh, of course.
So I'll say it's going to be scary. It still is in many ways because you have different stages in your career, and it gets scary in the different stages. But one thing to do is just to do it anyways, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of an adrenaline kick that I have when I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do it anyways. And after the fact, I'm like, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And one thing I will mention again is you have no control how someone else perceives you, and the only thing you can control, you might as well, put an effort into that, which is putting yourself out there. However you're received, wonderful. There are definitely things you want to keep in mind, diplomacy, being decent, polite, things like that. But that I think can go unsaid.
Yeah. Something else that I noticed, that people are just waiting for the specific event or the specific situation to network. And you can network everywhere. You can network in elevator, while you take the bus at the bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not driving, if you are driving, I don't know, when you're putting gas or at the store, you can do networking everywhere. And I remember because I hosted a networking event a few months ago, and someone said, but this is not a networking event because people are just selling things or doing different things. In a networking event, it should be this way. And no, networking, you can do networking everywhere.
Absolutely. I'd say like the thing that comes to mind is the word itself, networking, I think throws people off. It's not as grand as I think it sounds. At the very least, you're just chatting with another person. If things align, that's wonderful. If not, you had a good chat with another person. So that can happen in a grocery store. It can happen, like you said, gas station, wherever you are. So removing that label and, the weight that word carries can be helpful as well. I'm just thinking of networking as getting to know another person in a short period of time. There are definitely different circumstances where you have that opportunity to do that. Like I said, you could go to a networking event where that's what the aim is, or you can just be, going out for your grocery shopping, and you will be surprised the people you'll meet. In my personal experience, the people who have been very influential in my life, I would say majority of them I didn't meet in the networking event. Like I said, it's just going out and putting yourself out there. And I would say another thing that's important is having other people that know about you vouch for you as well. As much as you want to put all the weight on yourself, working on your skills and all that you have to offer really does half of the work for you. So people will find you once they know about you, but they also come back when they know that what you're offering is good.
Yeah. And something I would like to share with you also, now that you are mentioning that, it's that sometimes we go to networking events, we get in touch with people, but we don't take care of that relationship. For example, social media, LinkedIn, something very common when we come to Canada. This is very common in here. Build connections in LinkedIn, but it's not about adding Yemilo as my connection in LinkedIn if there's no relationship.
Absolutely.
And sometimes there's a misunderstanding about what networking is, because it's not only I have a connection with Yemilo in social media, or I met Yemilo and in an event, and I totally forgot about Yemilo.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about that. It's like a plant. You have a plant, you have to water it, you have to move it to the sun, and you need to take care of that. It's not that I will be talking to you every day, but care about this relationship. And when I need something or you need something, you will be thinking about me because I am there with you, and also showcase my skills, my expertise. So when you need someone, you know about this person has the skills, and you can call them for a job, for a project, for anything that you might need, and benefit from each other.
Yeah, I agree, because you mentioned something, and I think that's key. When you're networking, you're looking for a relationship, right? So the very first step of networking is just creating a connection. What you want to do is nurture that connection to the extent that it turns into a relationship. And I think at that very step of networking, you're really trying to figure out where this person fits into your life. It could be something that might be beneficial 10 years from now. And in that case, that person also knows that I'm probably not going to be sending you a message every 2 weeks because we don't align at this moment, right? So I think that clear communication is also good. But when you do have that connection, like you said, it goes beyond adding that person on LinkedIn. You can have 1,000, 1 million people on LinkedIn, but if they're just people that you have no connection with, they're not really being resources to you. So I would say take it a step above and nurture those relationships, as you mentioned. And at the same time, it just goes back to treating people as human beings. And with any relationship, you want to nurture it and let that person know that either you're keeping this particular career going, or you are, looking to advance in a certain way. It always baffles me when I connect with someone and then let's say 2-3 years later, I really need their services and I go on and I connect with them. And they've stopped doing the thing that they were doing like 5 years back. And I'm thinking to myself, how was I supposed to know, right? So I think not only are you connecting with those folks, you're also keeping in touch and letting them know the progress of whatever that relationship is.
Yes, that's it. I always mention, don't call one person just when you need it. Just say hi. Hi, how are you? How are you doing? Or now with social media, click like or
There
something.
you go.
Yeah.
There's various ways to support people. There's various ways to keep the connection going. And especially in Manitoba and Winnipeg, you're going to meet the same people in the same kinds of networking events over and over again. You might as well have a good relationship with most of those people.
Yeah. And when you mentioned at the beginning, a way to do networking can be at church, could be at the mosque, and different places, clubs, at school with your children, also with the parents. Which kinds of events do you think might be helpful for newcomers?
I always say go towards what your heart is already connected to. So if you like playing basketball, you could probably find a YMCA or a local organization where you can join a team and just get to know people that way and enjoy doing what you're doing. If you are not someone who likes the stale, going into a business networking event, you do not like that at all, then I would say minimize that as much as possible. But there are several opportunities to do that, right? So I would still say go back to what interests you, because at the end of the day, you're going to be enjoying what you're doing, and people like to see you really, in your element, I would say. So you're comfortable already because you're doing what you like to do, but you're also meeting people who are similar to you and have similar either even career goals or just interests, right? Because when you're networking, it doesn't always have to be about career advancement. Sometimes it's about just creating a community. And so I say already use what you have. What are you interested in? If you're looking to, try something new, there's always new classes and things that are brought out by the city that you can sign up for. Use that as an opportunity to get to know, people in your neighborhood as well, right? So I would say start off with what draws your attention.
What is your point of view about just having our community circle? For example, in my case, the Spanish circle. I know it has some pros and cons, but I would like to hear from you your opinion.
I would say it already is a comfortable way to start, because with your circle or with your community, you are not really stepping out of your box. So it's a comfortable way to start, but I always say don't stop there, because there's always ways of collaborating. And I think in the larger sense of things, something like this, multicultural, yes, that encompasses, the Spanish community, Nigerian community. And so when you want to go beyond your community, I think it's better to think in that grand scale of there's only so much that can happen in the Nigerian community. And there's bigger topics, I think, that we share and just delving into things like that.
Yeah, I think this gives us, when we are open to multicultural events or places, we learn more, because when we are in our groups, we are just doing the same things and we have the same experiences. And I would like to share with you, I went to an event a few months ago. It was an event, a community event. I'm not going to mention the community. And I was so surprised because they were talking about multiculturality in Canada. And they were discussing about how the children grow and they have a sense of belonging with their communities, but not with other communities, which I don't have that experience because I have been here for 5 years. So I cannot say that about my kids. But something that called my attention by the end of the event, that I was the only Spanish and nobody talked to me.
Oh, wow.
Nobody talked to me. And I tried to reach people. Hi, my name is Jocelyn, because I like, talking. I like making friends, and I'm not shy at all. But it was I was confused because of what they were talking, but I'm there, I'm trying to connect with them. But by the end, I didn't meet anybody. And they were talking about that. And so it's easy to say, it's hard for us to grow as a multicultural community, but we are not open to new people, to other communities. And it's hard, it's hard for many communities. Now I am trying to reach different communities, and it's a little bit complicated because sometimes we are close to our group. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry you'd had to go through that. I understand how it feels to kind of feel like you're the only one in that space and you're trying your best to connect and it's just not working out. A main thing that I think drew me to starting my business is focusing on creating welcoming events and welcoming environments. Now, that looks different in different spaces, right? But I would say I find that some of the times I'm like the outlier of I want to learn something new. I want to go out of my comfort zone. But it's also not easy to do that. I'll say a lot of people go through the routine of everyday life in Canada. And when you say, okay, let's go out and just relax as a group or community, you find yourself defaulting to your auto settings, which is going to spaces that feel very comfortable to you. But I would say, again, not a lot of things happen in your comfort zone. So I think having that curiosity for other for people who are different from you or even similar in ways that you don't know yet, is something that people need to explore more. And I would say definitely in Manitoba, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to kind of draw more parallels among our community. Because you see one event happening, another event happening, and I'm thinking to myself, this could be something that we all gather and actually do as a one collective. So it's unfortunate, I would say, but there are people that are trying to do something about it. But at the end of the day, it's still an individual effort, right? When you are in a space, are you sticking to your table? And that happens in networking events as well, right? Your organization pays for you to go to a networking event or just any event really, and you find yourself sitting with your colleagues. All of us are guilty of doing that, right? But what is it doing over the long term, right? That becomes the norm. And then we're not really having genuine connections with other communities.
So, Yemilo, before we started our episode, you were mentioning about some organizations that promote networking events. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I would say there are some Chamber of Commerces. So look at your local Chamber of Commerce if you're into business. There are like I said, faith groups that you can attend. If you're already there, a lot of them have, fundraisers, or they having, craft sales or things like that. People don't usually look at that as a networking event, but it really is. You're getting to meet the people that are in your community or support your community already, right? I would say there are different ways for you to even have a networking event on your own. If you're working with a new coworker and you've never met this person before and you already have your work group, getting a drink after work is a form of networking, So I think it ranges from very official standard ways of networking all the way to a very casual picnic in the park. But like I said, I would go back to organizations who already have that mandate to reach a certain amount of attendees in their events. And a lot of them are offering free opportunities, and some of them offer free food, so you might as well have a free lunch.
I haven't heard about those ones.
There you go. We'll talk about it later. But there are definitely opportunities, and I think once you're just willing to get out of your bubble, you can find some that are even all the way on Eventbrite that are just local people trying to get together, or what's it called, Meetup, that have similar interests, that just want to be able to create a community. And I think it's very important to just explore those things, find one that really challenges you. I'm very big on challenging yourself, especially when it comes to networking, and of course and doesn't make you too uncomfortable, because then that may be a little bit of a problem. But yeah, I would say those are a few that you can start with.
Get out of the bubble.
Absolutely, leave your house.
Yeah, you know what? I told you about that, what happened to me in that networking event. But I'm not going to feel discouraged because of that. I keep going to all networking events or conferences, no matter if I might not make one connection, but we never know.
Yeah, I would say, you want to definitely, if you're looking for a career advancement or you have a goal with your networking other than growing your community, you want to probably have a strategy to it.
Yeah.
So when I attend networking events that I know are related to me wanting to very plainly sell more in my business, because that's something that I need to do, something I'll do is, if I register for something, I will look at the people that are attending. Who do I think will be a good connection for me? And I make it a point that, okay, this person and this person I have to talk to when I attend this event. So it can be a little bit of a project for you. You don't have to go unprepared. And I would say definitely, if you're looking for more relationships that are going to give you yield or resources more in the immediate stage, then you need to do your research before going to those.
Totally agree. And this is why I always say, we need to have a goal. What's your goal? It's just meeting people. Do you have a business? Are you looking for partners? Are you looking for clients? Are you looking for just friends? Are you looking for contacts for future professional opportunities? What are you looking for? But networking has it all. It depends all on your goal, because you won't be going to all the events. There are so many events. Everything is depending on what you're looking for. And I really like that.
Yeah. And also say, if you are a little apprehensive about attending events, a good place to start is a virtual event. I am not a fan of people who turn their camera off for virtual events, but that is the place to start. Even at the very least, you have showed up. A good place would be, there are a lot of virtual events that happen that are free, because there's not a lot of resources that are put in to have attendees, right? So I would say start off with a virtual event. See the people in the comment section or the chat that you think that, that person brings up a good point. Hello, direct message. How are you doing? My name is, And I've seen quite a number of very wonderful relationships happen in the chat of Zoom. right? So you don't have to attend a virtual event and just turn off your camera and walk away. That's an opportunity that is gone, right?
While you're there then.
While you're there, you might as well use that opportunity for something else. So starting off with that, if you don't want to leave your house, since COVID, there have been quite a number of ways that have come out.
Yeah, thank you, Yemilo. Thank you for your time and for sharing with us all your expertise. You have been here for 10 years. I just have been here for 5 years. So thank you, everybody, for having the opportunity to listen to us, sharing our experiences and tips for networking. See you next time. And we are glad that you were there with us. Thank you. Bye-bye.